Ian from Lee Media. Today I'm going to be talking about Amazon sellers who are getting busted for selling stolen items. If this video helps, please take a moment to like it and follow me. Let's get started. This is a long report on CNBC. I just saw it this week, and the title of the report is Amazon sellers said they were kicked off-site after unknowingly hawking stolen goods. I have a couple problems with this story. There's also kind of a hidden story here that's not really even mentioned in the details that CNBC reported, which I think is important for any seller to understand. And it's a little bit of a rant. So let's get started with it. And basically, this really huge, long report they talked with a lot of sellers, including some sellers who have been kicked off the service or whose accounts are currently suspended. And basically, the problem is, as this title says, is that they were unknowingly hawking stolen goods. And the reporters here, Annie Palmer and Rohan Goswami, they're taking the side of the sellers who claim they didn't know what they were buying stolen goods. Amazon's not telling them information. It's painting a kind of a sympathetic portrayal of these sellers. And Amazon, as usual, as often is portrayed in the media, they're portrayed as the bad guys here. They're a giant platform throwing their weight around. They're not being transparent with their sellers, et cetera, et cetera. We've seen this before. I have a lot of big problems with this, starting with these sellers who are basically looking for any way to flip goods and just basically being middlemen and making a profit off of stuff that whatever comes across the transom. So these sellers, they are not sourcing goods directly from the manufacturer. They're often buying these goods from these, distressed property warehouses or these people that they literally find on Instagram or on Telegram who are just selling a truckload of stuff that they got. There's no attempt to find out what the provenance of these goods is. They're just buying cheap. They're trying to sell high on Amazon, and Amazon and the local authorities have been doing some investigations into where this stuff is coming from, and they got busted. One thing that becomes clear from reading this article, which I'm actually glad that the reporters did this part of it, they dug into this network of suppliers who are selling stolen goods. And these people have no clue, or they're not letting on to how they're getting a hold of this stuff. I'm not really sure if this is things that have been stolen from trucks or trains, and then it finds their way into these network of these behind-the-scenes wholesalers and distributors. But whatever the case, the brands, of course, are very worried about this. And actually, let's just find. It's like, here are the items. CNBC spoke with 6 sellers who were recently suspended. Each provided us with the names of their suppliers. A review of their invoices, communications with suppliers, and other documentation revealed a convoluted web of wholesale liquidation companies that frequently overlapped, and they advertised similar products. And they say espresso machines, special types of vacuum cleaners, computer monitors, and these are all brand name companies that are being affected by this. And one thing you should understand about brand name companies on Amazon, they protect their intellectual property, they protect their supply lines. They do not want some discount seller popping up on Amazon and selling something for cheap for several reasons. First of all, it may not be new. Second of all, it may not have any warranty guarantee because it wasn't sold through an official channel. And third of all, if it's a stolen good, the supplier, they want to get that back. They don't want it being showing up on Amazon and being sold below price just so some third-party seller can make a quick buck off of it. So these people, they got busted because these brands, they care. These brands, they are registered brands on the Amazon brand registry. And these brands, they worked with Amazon to find out where this stuff is coming from. Amazon worked with local law enforcement, and now they're prosecuting some of these sellers. And let me tell you something. When it comes to stolen goods, claiming ignorance of the supply line is not protection. If the California Highway Patrol or whatever local authority is going after you, they're not going to care about, oh, I didn't know that it came from us. I didn't know it was stolen. I didn't know it fell off the back of a truck. So these people, these sellers and also the suppliers, they're going to feel the long arm of the law very shortly. And let me tell you something. If you're investigated and you're found to be selling stolen goods, not only do you have a problem with your Amazon account, you have a problem with the law. You may be facing some serious legal consequences. And if you're involved in this type of business, I would be talking to a lawyer ASAP, because when the feds, or not the feds, when the local law enforcement comes calling, you need to know what to say and you need to know what to do in order to deal with this problem. In some cases, the authorities or Amazon, they may just want you to, not just, they may want you to, they may expect you to give up where the supplier came from and tell them anything you know about this. And, there's just lots of legal repercussions that can happen for selling stolen goods. Interestingly, a lot of this appears to be investigated by local authorities. But what I would also be worried about is if the feds get involved in this, because if the feds get involved, like, I don't even know who would be investigating this. Not just the FBI, but other federal agencies, and then it goes to a federal attorney for prosecution. Like, that would be a nightmare for anybody, because when the feds prosecute, they're not kidding around. They have like a 90% conviction rate, and it's usually a really bad situation. So I've just told you my little rant about why I think this is bad for these sellers who are just kind of like claiming ignorance. There's a couple other things going on here too that the authors of the CNBC article apparently weren't aware of. And this doesn't surprise me, because apparently the way that this popped up is some of these sellers started complaining to these reporters, hoping that the reporters could help them out. The reporters didn't actually look deeply into the policy, beyond the policy, of course, that you can't sell stolen goods on Amazon. There's another policy that's really important here that wasn't even mentioned, and that are Amazon's guidelines to source products to sell on Amazon. If you go to Seller University and you find this video and you watch this video, Amazon is very clear. They do not want you buying stuff from some liquidation expert or some unauthorized wholesaler or distributor to turn around and resell on Amazon, especially if it's a brand that's in the Amazon brand registry, or one of these, top level brands, like, think a sneaker manufacturer or an electronics manufacturer. They do not want this other stuff showing up, sold for a cut rate. Maybe it's stolen. Probably it doesn't have any sort of warranty guarantee. Maybe it's something that isn't even new. It's actually used, and some fly-by-night distributor or wholesaler is just putting in a new thing of shrink wrap. So these guidelines on Amazon Seller University explain very clearly what the expectations are for sourcing. And it's actually not even a guess. I know that if you're selling like a computer monitor from a brand name manufacturer, there's no way that saying, oh, I bought it from some wholesaler, outside of Los Angeles, and, they said it's legit. That is not legitimate. You need first of all, you either need to use an official distributor, the manufacturer itself, or you need to have like a letter from the manufacturer, from the brand, saying that, okay, it's okay for this particular seller to sell this particular item on another channel, such as Amazon. None of these sellers have that. These third-party sellers that are highlighted in this article, they're basically just trying to find, big brands that are easy to sell on Amazon, and they can flip them and make a quick buck. So they're not only violating the stolen goods rules on Amazon and in the United States, they're also violating the sourcing guidelines. That did not come up in the CNBC article, but it really needs to be understood for anybody who is selling something on Amazon. Everybody just wants to be a drop shipper. Nobody wants to take responsibility. They just want to find the easiest way to find something cheap, turn around, flip it on Amazon, and make a lot of money. And that's what almost all of these sellers are doing. It's pretty clear from the description of their business. I disagree with this quite strongly. I believe you should play by Amazon's rules. And if you're doing this, just finding some random seller on Instagram or Telegram, that's not a legitimate distributor. An invoice from them will not count as something that can get you out of trouble if Amazon says, "Hey, we want to see a letter from the manufacturer, the brand, saying that you're okay to sell this particular item." So this article really pushed a lot of buttons for me. It's incomplete. Yes, it does cover the problem with the sellers selling stolen goods. It gets into actually how this happened, which I'm glad they did, but they totally missed the boat on Amazon's own guidelines about sourcing guidelines, which you have to find out if you go to Amazon Seller Central and click on Seller University and find the guidelines to source products to sell on Amazon. If you have any comments about this or thoughts about these sellers who are basically flouting the laws, either selling stolen stuff unknowingly or just kind of looking for some real branded item to flip and sell on Amazon and think that they can get away with it, I'd like to hear your comments. And if you have more interest in learning more about selling on Amazon, I urge you to go to leanmedia.org. That's my official website. Click on blog or video and then search for something like policy. And I talk about all kinds of issues that sellers get into when they try to break the rules, or sometimes they're able to break the rules for a long time until Amazon gets wise to the scam and shuts it down, and then we see this wave of complaints on Amazon Seller Central forums about like how unfair it is that their account got shut down for violating Amazon's rules. So anyways, that's the end of my rant. Thank you so much for watching, and if you could like this video and follow me, I'd be very grateful. Thank you so much. Bye.